Right now, 7 UW-Madison holds its largest commencement ever ahead the sights and sounds from yesterday's ceremony.
And while we have summer-like weather in the forecast, we also have dangerous thunderstorm chances in the forecast too. More on that in a bit.
And later, a 37-hour standoff ends in eastern Wisconsin. We'll hear what authorities are saying led to it. This is Weekend Mornings, and we thank you for joining us here live from Madison. I'm Kyle Pazarski. It is Sunday, May 11th, and of course, Mother's Day. Let's get to the first warn forecast, though. Alex Harrington is in for Jacob this morning. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning there, Kyle. Good morning, moms in southern Wisconsin and La Crosse area. Please bear with me. I'm sitting at the weather desk here because I'm still nursing this right foot that's getting closer and closer to being able to get backing out to walking again. But most importantly, Mom's Day forecast. Highs up near 80 degrees, both in La Crosse and in Madison. Sunny conditions, light winds. You really can't beat this for a weather forecast. Let's take a look at some of those temperatures out there. Now we're up to 44 in Madison, near all the way up to 54 in La Crosse. Warmer to the west, and it's those warm winds that are eventually going to make the temperatures soar from left to right, meaning from west to east across the area today. We're going for high temperatures of 82 in La Crosse, 77 in Madison. This is just a hint of things to come. We've got temperatures that are going to stick around in the 70s to the low to mid 80s all the way through the upcoming work week. Madison, let's plan your day. By lunchtime, high temperatures up around 70. Light winds all day. High temperatures peaking this afternoon in the upper 70s. La Crosse, pretty much a copy and paste, as they sometimes like to say, but just a few degrees warmer. High temperatures up at 82 by the end of the daytime. Now, in our bottom line, after a stellar Mother's Day forecast, I'm thinking already forward to Monday, we're going to have highs in the 80s much of this week, upper 70s in some areas, but we need to talk about Alert Day Thursday, especially for La Crosse and areas south and east towards Madison. Some strong storms in the forecast. We'll track those using Future Track in just a bit. Kyle?
Well, and Alex, on this Mother's Day discussion question for you, what are some of your favorite memories of your mother?
I've got a funny story, actually. So hands-free in the car, Bluetooth, okay? I've got Mom in my phone and I have Bob in my phone. And years ago, I would say, call Mom. And then my car would say, calling Bob. And then, no, I want you to call Mom. So I'd stop that phone call. But my mom is the dearest person in the world, Joni Harrington. She'd do anything for anybody, and anybody who's watching are nodding their heads right now. So I changed my mom's name in my phone from Mom to St. Joni. How about that?
I love it. I love Mother's Day.
And you?
One of my favorite memories with my mom was taking her out to, it was Governor Dodge State Park this past summer. We went out there and went on a hike. Didn't expect that it was going to be taking that long, but it was really a difficult hike for her. Showed great strength and resiliency to get through it, and just really shows why I love her as a mother and as a person.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Happy Mother's Day to your mom.
Happy Mother's Day,
well.
yes. Thank you, Alex. All right, let's get on to some news this morning now. Topping our news, yesterday UW-Madison, well, it held its largest commencement ceremony in the university's history. The total number of students earning degrees was more than 9,400, with an estimated 48,000 showing up to Camp Randall Stadium, seeing them on. Chancellor Jennifer Mnuchin reminded graduates that an essential part of their UW-Madison education has been learning to find ways to connect, not disconnect, and to engage, not disengage. Staying local, the Madison Police Department is investigating an alleged robbery and sexual assault on the city's south side. They say it happened Saturday morning. Officers were dispatched to an area on West Badger Road. An adult victim was heading to work when they were allegedly robbed and sexually assaulted by an unknown suspect. As of early afternoon, the suspect had not been located and no arrests were made. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Madison Police Department or the Madison Area Crime Stoppers. A live look now, the Trump White House has hit a new roadblock as a California judge is pausing the president's efforts to downsize the federal government. Trump's firings at at least 20 government agencies, along with those spending cuts, are now being paused for 2 weeks as the judge considers a challenge brought by employee unions. Now, this all comes as the White House is pushing for funding of the president's other priorities, including boosting border security. Trump is also now suggesting to tax wealthy Americans to pay for his plans, which is expected to rattle Republicans in Congress.
I would love to be able to give people at a lower bracket a big break.
Now on Friday, Republicans released a bare bones version of their tax bill, but those are modest by comparison to what Trump has wanted. Under it, the standard deduction for an individual would be increased by $1,500 and $3,000 for married couples. It would also increase the tax credit for each child by $500. Overseas, India and Pakistan are accusing each other of violating a ceasefire deal just hours after it went and was agreed on. There had been escalating clashes between the two, including some missile and drone strikes like you're seeing here in recent weeks. Yesterday, President Trump announced the deal on social media, which was mediated by the U.S., but multiple explosions were heard in two large cities of Indian-controlled Kashmir just hours after the countries agreed to this deal. There were no immediate reports of any casualties. Newly elected Pope Leo XIV is signaling he will closely follow in the footsteps of the late Pope Francis. Pope Leo had his first informal meeting with the cardinals on Saturday and has said he chose his papal name to continue down the path of Pope Leo XIII, who is remembered as a pope of Catholic social teaching. Pope Leo said his leadership will build upon Pope Francis's church with some reforms as well as a legacy of social justice. He also called artificial intelligence a main challenge for working people and human dignity. The Vatican press office says Pope Leo later visited an Augustinian sanctuary just outside of Rome, marking his first public outing on Saturday. Now, in staying overseas, Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed holding direct talks with Ukraine starting this Thursday. Putin made the announcement on Saturday, just hours after Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky held talks in Kyiv with the leaders of Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, as well as Poland. President Trump joined the meeting by phone call. Zelensky saying this following that meeting.
We've agreed that since Monday, 12th of May, a full and unconditional ceasefire must start for at least 30 days. We together demand it from Russia. We know that the United States support us in this.
Now again, Putin has responded saying the negotiations will be intended on eliminating the root causes of the conflict and reach a long-term durable peace. Zelensky called the offer a positive sign and said his country is, quote, ready to meet with Russia. Looking ahead, and you better believe a lot of people are looking ahead for this news, Chipotle set to open over 300 stores this year. 15 to 20 of those will be in Canada. Meanwhile, some other details lay out that 80% of the stores will include a drive-through for digital orders. Chipotle says 57 company-owned restaurants have already opened during the first quarter of 2025. Now, in its fourth quarter earnings of last year, the company reported a total revenue of more than $11 billion, which was an increase of almost 15% from 2023. Looking around the state, a man was arrested Saturday after a 37-hour standoff. Now, this happening at a home in Fredonia, just a little bit north of Milwaukee. On Thursday evening, residents in the area reported hearing gunshots, with authorities arriving to hear more coming from the home. They ordered residents in the area to then shelter in place. Now, throughout Friday, the man remained uncooperative, making some threats towards police, and it wasn't until around 11 Saturday morning that he surrendered peacefully. The man was then taken into custody and to a local hospital for minor injuries and a mental health evaluation. A major real estate deal in Eau Claire could bring new opportunities for UW-Eau Claire. Blue Gold Real Estate has purchased the former Sacred Heart Hospital property. The facility, which was previously operated by Hospital Sisters Health System, closed its doors in March of last year. Ownership has now been transferred to a nonprofit to oversee the site, and more details are still to be announced. Hundreds of volunteers turned out this weekend for the 32nd annual River Cleanup in La Crosse. Crews launched from sites like 7th Street Landing, working together to clear trash and debris from local waterways. All a good thing. Now, since 1993, the event has removed nearly 1 million pounds of waste, including thousands of tires as well as barrels.
Kind of comes together as a community and helps to, clean our river here, and which is such a big part of the community. So it's really important and a good thing that we can all do together.
The event has become one of the largest volunteer cleanup efforts across the Midwest. All right, 10 past the hour, still ahead. Got one final check, or one more chance to check out the Jurassic Quest this weekend. It's a really fun event here in Madison, and we'll share where you can find the tickets. Plus, Alex is back with a full check of the first warn forecast with some summer-like weather to come. Plus, we're celebrating moms on this Mother's Day. Here again is a shout out to the moms of the News 3 Now team. Once again, happy Mother's Day. We'll be back in a bit.
All right, here we go, imparting some of Alex's energy to all you moms out there and everybody else in southern Wisconsin and the La Crosse area. In our bottom line, we have a stellar Mother's Day forecast. Wait to see how warm our temperatures are going to be today. 80s through a good portion of next week. And I want to start a focus on Alert Day Thursday. This is for La Crosse and areas south and east, especially for southern Wisconsin. Let's go there right now with our forecast. This is for strong to severe thunderstorms. Confidence increasing in the meteorological, the weather, and the severe weather community from La Crosse and areas south and east. This would include all of the WISC viewing area. I know we do our weather for La Crosse and for Madison. This means business when the Storm Prediction Center puts an outlook 5 days out in advance. And what that means is just that the confidence is high that the ingredients are there for the potential of severe thunderstorms on Thursday. Doesn't mean a guarantee that they're going to happen. There's some limiting factors on Thursday, which I'll explain here. As we move into future track, though, some shower and thunderstorm chances Tuesday afternoon. This is with a weather system that's going to meander around Wisconsin and areas to the east, bringing what we call popcorn showers and thunderstorms. They look like popcorn as they form during the afternoon. They form during the heat of the day. Not everybody gets wet, but if you get underneath one of those popcorn showers and storms, again, Wednesday afternoon, some brief heavy downpours and some lightning are not out of the question. There's a little saying, when thunder roars, go indoors. Not expecting severe weather Tuesday or Wednesday, but lightning certainly and some brief heavy downpours. Now here we go. Watch Wednesday night. Weather system builds into Minnesota and Iowa, and a warm front advances towards the area with maybe a thunderstorm or two as early as the afternoon hours in La Crosse and in Madison. But then the cold front comes through. Watch this. La Crosse, Eau Claire, the Wisconsin Rapids area down to Waterloo. A cluster of thunderstorms develops during Thursday afternoon, evening hours, and then that races across central and southern Wisconsin. All severe weather hazards would be possible if this pans out, provided that the cold front comes through during the peak heating of the day. We're going to have that cap on the atmosphere, that lid on the atmosphere with our last alert day held on real tight, and it didn't allow for severe thunderstorms for a good part of the area to form. Hopefully that'll be the case, but right now our weather models are indicating that the peak heating of the day will align and break that cap, causing these thunderstorms Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Then they're out of the entire area by the time we get to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That is our best chance of rain, although again, can't rule out a couple of thunderstorms Tuesday afternoon and perhaps a stray shower or thunderstorm on Wednesday. Now here's the good stuff. Temperatures 82 in La Crosse, 77 in Madison for Mother's Day today. Light winds tonight, lows in the upper 40s to the lower to middle 50s. If you're not somebody who is dealing with allergies, maybe crack the windows open, let a little fresh air in, and then low to mid 80s, 86 in La Crosse. Remember, this is May, not July, but a very warm period ahead, both for La Crosse all the way out through Thursday. Then we cool down next weekend. Same in Madison, almost copy and paste, just a few degrees shy of the warmer temperatures up in the La Crosse area. And setting to my folks in Stoughton, looking like refreshingly cool temperatures by the end of next week.
All right, Alex, thank you. Got some fun for you to do today if you're in the Madison area. One opportunity to check out the Jurassic Quest taking place at Madison's Alliant Energy Center. Now, you don't want to miss out on the life-size dinosaurs, as well as the walking dinosaur rides, a life-size T-Rex skull, as well as a bunch of fossils. Tickets are online at just $28 starting, with various times available. If you type in the promo code DINO30, our News 3 Now viewers will get 30% off the regular price tickets. In health news, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has pledged to make America healthy again, in part by reducing the consumption of processed foods, which make up 2/3 of the American diet. At a recent press conference that he held was a social media influencer, Vanny Harry. Adam Yamaguchi reports.
We've awakened the entire country to these issues.
You may not know her name.
Thank you so much.
But at the Natural Food Expo, where the crowd is obsessed with how healthy their food is, Vanny Hari, also known as the Food Babe, is as big a deal as it gets.
You're treated like a rock star in this space here.
I'm just so excited that I've been part of this movement to tell people the truth about what's been done to their food.
As an influencer with nearly 4 million followers, Hari supported Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination and now sits on its grassroots food advisory panel.
At the highest levels of leadership, we are talking about the issues that I have been fighting for over a decade.
Hari has no formal nutrition training, but embraces emerging research linking additives like emulsifiers, dyes, and preservatives to obesity and other chronic disease.
We've allowed the food companies to inundate our food supply with all of these man-made chemicals that I think don't belong in the human body.
This is a box of Fruit Loops from Canada.
Hari first went on the offensive when she discovered that many iconic American processed foods contain dyes and other ingredients that are not found in the same products outside the U.S.
That next time you want to go into Chick-fil-A and get that.
Next, Hari moved from the grocery aisles to the fast food lane. Skeptics question Hari's self-taught expertise and her self-interest in selling her own food products.
You also have a lot of critics who say she doesn't know what she's talking about.
You know, I would say sometimes we just got to use our common sense. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know how to eat.
Growing up in North Carolina, this daughter of Indian immigrants struggled with eczema, inflammation, and excess weight. Then she cut out ultra-processed food.
The weight came off and never came back. I went off 9 prescription drugs. Cheers.
But Hari knows it will take influence from all sides to make America eat healthier.
Our regulatory agencies have utterly failed us, and it is up to citizens like me to hold them accountable.
Adam Yamaguchi, CBS News, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Every single day when they're...
And it's now 7:20. Still ahead, a Delaware man is turning heads with a jet ski turned motorcycle. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history. Story here, a Delaware man's latest project has some heads turning. He created what you're seeing here, a motorcycle jet ski hybrid. He calls it the Landau and is the latest in his passion to build anything with 2 wheels. He says he got the idea after seeing similar creations in Florida.
I thought, you know what, that looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? And finally I said, you know what, I'm going to try to duplicate it.
And with over 20 years of motorcycle experience, he knew exactly how to make this all happen and work together. The motorcycle enthusiast stripped all the plastic off of the bike, slimmed it down as much as possible, then customized an old jet ski shell to fit over the bike frame. Well, Alex, we have perfect weather today if you want to go out jet skiing or even if you want to go motorcycling, whatever you choose, right?
Or use that Landau. I was hoping to see him go right off into the water, but I suspect where he's at. It was probably a bit on the chilly side. Nothing chilly about our Mother's Day forecast. How about this? A stellar day. 80-degree temperatures or near 80, both in La Crosse and in Madison, as you all know. On Saturdays and Sundays, we do forecasts for La Crosse and Madison, and it's a carbon copy, meaning copy and paste both locations. Moms, it's looking great across the area. We've got 44 right now in Madison, 54 in La Crosse, warmer to the west, and eventually that warm air is going to push all the way to the east today with today's highs, 77 in Madison, 82 in La Crosse. I do want to emphasize, though, out there, it's starting to get, the ground is starting to get dry again. It's been a while since we've had a good rain, and with sunny skies, dry conditions, the fire risk is starting to get a bit on the elevated side. So if you're planning on grilling today, please be very mindful and careful of that. Planning our day up near 70 in Madison by noon, 77 for that high temperature, and in La Crosse, high temperatures just a smidge warmer in the lower 80s. Coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk about rain chances and the possibility of severe weather. You don't want to miss that in a little while.
All right, Alex, thank you. Students at a Catholic school had a reason to celebrate this week. CBS's Noel Brennan shows us how they were the first in electing a local pope.
When the mystery of the papal conclave meets a kid's imagination.
It is time for our conclave to begin.
Chicago's Our Lady of Mount Carmel Academy becomes the Sistine Chapel.
Let the Holy Spirit be with you.
Suddenly, a fourth grader like Cameron Smith
What would you do if you became Pope?
feels the weight of a cardinal in Rome.
Wow, there's so many good options.
Cameron has to vote like a cardinal and think like one too.
You'd want to be it, but you don't want to be. An interesting answer.
Teachers, parents, and their parish helped plan this mock conclave.
We really have no idea who's going to get chosen.
It's up to 20 kid cardinals to pick their pope.
Do you need to be humble? I think you got to be kind, respectful. Be a pope of the people.
What makes a good pope is a pope that's holy and has a good heart for everyone.
How many votes is this going to take?
I think maybe 4 to 6, yeah.
4 to 6?
Yeah.
And we're on 2?
Yeah. We think that's not fair.
As Cameron and the Cardinals start campaigning for each other,
Augie fair.
front runners crop up.
It's gonna be him. I'm confident, but I'm not confident. Now we have to eat because we're so stressed out.
No consensus on a pope just yet. The Cardinals have finished a snack break and are in their 3rd round of voting.
They say we're getting very close to a pope and everyone's freaking out. It could be anyone.
The palpable papal suspense finally lifts.
Cardinal Augustus Wilk.
And it's 4th grader Augie Wilk
We did it!
who's gotten at least 2/3 of the vote.
We did it!
I learned that the Holy Spirit guide me through all my voting and to make the right choices. And I also learned it's good to have a little bit of fun, but also stay humble.
White smoke signals the news to the entire school.
Here! Round the curtains!
And in this moment, you'd swear you were in St. Peter's Square. Noel Brennan, CBS News, Chicago.
Right now at 7:30, a college student in the U.S. on a visa is now in custody. We'll hear what the Trump administration is saying about this case.
And a stellar Mother's Day forecast for La Crosse and for the Madison area. High temperatures up near 80 degrees, but when the possibility of severe weather enters the forecast, we'll talk about that momentarily.
And later on, UW-Madison holds its largest commencement ceremony on record. We'll share the sights and sounds from Camp Randall. This is Weekend Mornings. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazorski. It is Sunday, May 11th, and of course, Mother's Day. Let's get to the Mother's Day forecast. Alex Harrington in for Jacob this morning. Hi, Alex.
Hey there, Kyle. Hey there, moms in La Crosse and in southern Wisconsin. Again, Mom, I will be out a little bit later in the morning. I'll hop on the Ryder lawnmower and we'll get that lawn mowed at the farm. Southern Wisconsin, La Crosse area, high temperatures today all the way up near 80 degrees, sunny and warm, light winds. You'll need that sunscreen, though, myself included, if you're going to be out and about today. 82 for a high temperature in La Crosse, 77 in Madison. These are temperatures that you would see really in June and July, so quite unprecedented how above normal we will be today. Let's plan that day in Madison. Temperatures up around 70 at lunchtime, upper 70s to round out the day. It's getting a little bit dry out again out there on the ground, and the National Weather Service wants us to remind folks that the risk for a fire is getting elevated again across the area, both La Crosse areas and Madison areas. So if you're going to do any grilling out today, please be very careful with that. High temperatures in La Crosse up near 82 degrees, and then we turn our attention to strong thunderstorm chances later in the week. This includes La Crosse and this includes Madison. We have alert day conditions expected Thursday afternoon and evening. Been mentioning this on our WISC broadcasts as early as the middle of last week of the potential for a strong storm or two, and that's part of your bottom line. After a stellar Mother's Day forecast and really summer-like readings going all the way out to Thursday, alert day conditions Thursday for severe thunderstorms we will use Future Track for in a little while. Kyle?
All right, Alex, thank you. Now, topping our news, a federal judge has ordered the release of a Tufts University student who is in the U.S. on a student visa. Now, recently, they were detained by ICE over writing an opinion piece critical of the Israel-Gaza war. CBS's Christian Benavides reports.
Following 6 weeks in immigration detention, Tufts University student Rumeysa Osterk was out of custody late Saturday, a day after a federal judge ordered the 30-year-old PhD student be immediately released.
In the last 45 days, I lost both my freedom and also my education during a crucial time for my doctoral studies.
Osterg had co-authored an op-ed in the school paper calling on Tufts to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide and divest from Israel. Her detention, captured on surveillance video, showed ICE agents in plain clothes and wearing masks as they circled in around the Fulbright scholar. That led to protests and questions over freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech and the right of due process are not suggestions in our country. They are fundamental rights.
The Trump administration said a visa is a privilege, not a right.
We gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses.
Last week, President Trump was pushed on whether everyone should get due process.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion.
The administration says it is looking into suspending habeas corpus or due process in order to more quickly deport immigrants. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
And the Department of Homeland Security is also looking into arresting 3 lawmakers in New Jersey over a confrontation at an immigration detention facility in Newark. Well, next month, Democrats in Wisconsin will have to decide who they want to lead the state party as they head into a crucial midterm election next fall. Now, this comes after current state party chair Ben Wickler decided not to run for another term. Wickler is widely credited for many of the recent wins that Democrats have seen here in Wisconsin. Our Will Keneally will speak with a candidate running to replace him on this week's For the Record.
The Democratic Party has lost its way when it comes to how we communicate our values and what we are not just fighting against, but what we're fighting for. I think the communications mindset I bring will allow us to re-engineer how we communicate those values.
You can see more from this interview later on today at 10:30 on For the Record, seen locally on WISC-TV 3 Madison. Meanwhile, here in Madison, police are investigating an alleged robbery and sexual assault on the city's south side. Saturday morning, officers were dispatched to an area on West Badger Road. They say the adult victim was on foot and headed to work when they were allegedly robbed and sexually assaulted by an unknown suspect. The suspect has not been located and no arrests have been made. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Madison Police Department or Madison Area Crime Stoppers. The Rock County Sheriff's Office says a 35-year-old man from Brodhead was arrested for a 4th offense OWI. Now, this happening Friday night in the town of Avon. They say a vehicle was found in a ditch with a driver slumped over. The driver showed signs of impairment and was arrested. Now, this being the 4th offense, the driver now faces a felony charge. He is due in court tomorrow. A Milwaukee woman has died from a crash on I-94 near Madison. On Friday, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation reported a multi-vehicle crash occurred on the interstate westbound at around 2 p.m. 4 vehicles were involved in this, and 2 people were taken to area hospitals with non-life-threatening injuries. However, an 89-year-old Milwaukee woman later died at the hospital. Now around the state, letter carriers fighting food insecurity. That's the big story here. Saturday was the National Association of Letter Carriers Stamp Out Hunger Food Drive. Letter carriers collect non-perishable food and hygiene items that customers leave in their mailboxes. Now, officials with the Hunger Task Force of La Crosse say this food drive comes at a very critical time.
With the summer coming up, like I said, a lot of youth kids are going to be now at home more often, so the needs are going to go up quite a bit during the summertime.
Now, the collection donations from this will benefit local food pantries. Over its 30-plus year history, the Letter Carriers Food Drive has now collected 1.9 billion pounds of food nationally. And this year, La Crosse area letter carriers partner with Great Rivers United Way to recruit volunteers and collect and sort the donations. It's 7:37, still ahead on weekend mornings. UW-Madison has its largest commencement ever. Stick with us. We're back with that story and more in a bit on Weekend Mornings.
Happy Mother's Day from me to you to all the moms in the area, but I want to be focused on some potential of dangerous weather as we go Thursday afternoon, evening. First, to let you know again that some strong to severe thunderstorms are a distinct possibility on Thursday. This is how that all pans out here. Storm Prediction Center has the La Crosse area over to Decorah, Viroqua, Camp Douglas, south and east to Madison, and all of the WISC Channel 3 area under a risk of severe weather on Thursday. This is 5 days out after some pop-up showers and storms on Tuesday and Wednesday. Not everybody will get wet. Those showers and storms may pose some heavy downpours and lightning. It's thunderstorms breaking out Thursday afternoon, first out in Minnesota and Iowa, and then moving across the La Crosse area, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and then into the Madison area as we head into 8, 9, 10 o'clock on Thursday before it races off to the east. That could pose all severe weather hazards, large hail, damaging winds, and a couple isolated tornadoes. So while we've got this nice, beautiful Mother's Day today, just that heads up that strong storms are on the way, very likely as we head towards Thursday of next week. Highs in the upper 70s to the lower 80s today on Mom's Day. Sunny skies, light winds, can't be beat. And then, I want to go back a graphic. We'll do low to mid 80s as we start off the work week. Nope, this isn't July. This is just the day after Mother's Day. A very warm week ahead for La Crosse after that cold front comes through on Thursday, cooling on down. And the same for Madison. After Alert Day Thursday, conditions will eventually cool on down. Set into my activities, looking refreshingly cool Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Alex, thank you. Yesterday, UW-Madison saw its largest commencement ceremony in its history. Our Ellie LaLiberte was there and shows what made the graduates' time so memorable in Madison.
UW-Madison class of 2025 entering Camp Randall as students, but leaving as alumni.
8,679 of you are graduating today, making this year's commencement the largest in our 176-year history.
Those thousands of graduates flooded with emotions.
You work so hard to get to this point in life, and it's a great feeling.
I grew up in Madison, so I grew up watching the older people graduate here, and now it's me, so I'm just super excited.
Students reminiscing on their time in Madison.
Madison has just been my second home for the last 3 years. I feel like I've made such great friends and so many memories. I'm definitely going to miss sitting by the lake or going to tailgates.
Graduation also a chance for the Badgers who came before them to share some advice.
Life is often a process of learning what you don't know. You will be humbled. You will recover. You will gain insight and perspective, which are gifts. Right now, you have the greatest gift anyone can have: time.
The graduates also offering advice of their own.
Do something engineering, do everything that you can. Maximize your college.
School's gonna be hard, but take your weekends off and have fun with your friends.
School can sometimes be hard, life can be hard, but you remember to just have fun because it'll be this time flies and it'll be over before you know it.
Reporting at Camp Randall, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
And on Wisconsin.
High temperatures and what you can expect to have today on this Mother's Day Sunday in just a couple of moments, but I do want to focus on after a summer-like period, including today all the way through a good portion of next week. We have some dangerous storm potential as we go into Thursday. This includes La Crosse and the Madison area, so let's hop right into it. That's our bottom line. Alert Day Thursday. What Alert Day conditions mean, if you're not familiar, is this is when our team is forecasting a period of impactful, or in this case, dangerous weather conditions that could include strong to severe thunderstorms of all hazards on Thursday afternoon and evening, large hail, damaging winds, and perhaps a couple of isolated tornadoes. So confident right now in our severe weather and storm prediction center community that a day 5 outlook for severe weather outlines La Crosse to just south and east of Black River Falls into central Wisconsin. This includes Viroqua, Prairie du Chien, the Dells, south and east to Madison, all the way down to Janesville and the Elkhorn area. for Thursday. When you get these risks issued this far in advance, this means there is confidence and the likelihood that the variables, the ingredients going into the potential for severe thunderstorms will be there on Thursday. Does it guarantee severe weather? No, but it's just a first heads up that there's a likelihood that if all the conditions come together on Thursday, which they look like they will, that severe weather is a distinct possibility. Here's how that pans out after a couple of pop-up showers and thunderstorms in the area Tuesday afternoon with the warmth of the day, and then again Wednesday afternoon. Tuesday night and Wednesday night look to be quiet, but pop-up showers and storms are expected on Wednesday. Then we turn our attention, look to the west here as we go later Wednesday into Thursday out across Minnesota, northern Iowa. Thunderstorms breaking out. We can't rule out a couple of thunderstorms early in the day, late morning hours into the early afternoon hours on Thursday as a warm front brings warm and somewhat humid air into southern Wisconsin and also west central and central Wisconsin. Thunderstorms breaking out La Crosse 5-6 o'clock. They race to the east here, including central and southern Wisconsin, 8, 9, 10 o'clock with all potential hazards on Thursday, and then they scoot off to the east at around 2, 3 o'clock Thursday morning. Tuesday afternoon, lesser of a chance on Wednesday for rain shower and thunderstorm activity. That's that pop-up stuff, and then the potential for severe weather Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. All right, let's do the good stuff here. 82 in La Crosse today on Mom's Day, 77 in Madison. Sunny skies and light winds, lows in the low 50s to mid 50s overnight tonight, and basically a almost July-like day to start off the upcoming work week. Staying warm in La Crosse all the way through the cold front's passage on Thursday, and the same in Madison, staying warm all the way through Thursday of the upcoming week, and then cooling down just a tad.
The Brewers are stuck in a weird cycle of 3-game streaks. Looking back at their last 14 games, they lost 3 straight, won 3 straight, lost 3, won 3. You get the pattern. And heading into yesterday, they had lost 2 in a row, but could avoid another 3-game skid with a win in Tampa, trailing 2-1 in the 5th. And Joey Ortiz, who hadn't hit a homer in his last 46 games, breaks the streak with a solo homer, tying things up at 2. And he hoped it would help his Brewers break their streak, but in the 9th, same score, and Travis Janowski taps one through the infield, and the Rays walk off the Crew, who lose their 3rd straight. To the college ranks, staying on the diamond, it was a weekend filled with conference tournaments. Whitewater had to beat Oshkosh twice yesterday to secure their 2nd straight WIAC tournament title, and did just that, winning the championship game 11-4. Next up for them is the road to the College World Series. While many of his former teammates have been preparing to graduate yesterday, Hunter Wohler has been preparing to get to his first job, which just so happens to be in the NFL. As he learns an all-new playbook with the Colts, he credits the understanding of the complexity of his new defense to what he was asked to do at Wisconsin, saying that it uniquely prepared him to succeed at whatever position it is that Indianapolis asks him to play.
My freshman year in college, I was early on, like camp in first couple weeks this season, I was lost, to be honest. So it was a wake-up call, but having the coaches I had, like it forced me to kind of grow my understanding of the game and my knowledge of defense and switching coordinators. Like you have to learn a whole new scheme. So I think that just kind of helped prepare me for this week and for the weeks to come.
And Wohler, as we mentioned, had some teammates graduating. There's Coach Fickle and his teammates. And how about the basketball team? You see Kamari McGee, Carter Gilmore, Max Klesmet, John Tanje, you name it. Women's golf, men's track, women's hockey represented here. But not just the athletes we can graduate. We can congratulate, how about that, every single graduate that had their big moment yesterday. Speaking of big days, how about Mother's Day today? Have a magnificent one. That is your morning sports fix.
Thank you, Andrew. And before we break, we're celebrating moms on this Mother's Day. Take a look at our News 3 Now family and their mothers. We're back with more news in a bit, and here's what's coming up on For the Record.
Hey, Kyle, this morning I want to introduce you to this guy, Bob Lang, printed out here, face on his T-shirt. That's because he's the longtime and prolifically known director of the state's Legislative Fiscal Bureau. Now, he's coming on the show to talk about the state's budget process, breaking down what all goes into it and where we go from here. Also exciting this week, a familiar face on the show, Maddie Heimsch, joins us to break down some of the headlines that we've seen this week. And we continue our series of sit-downs with the candidates running to be the next leader of the state's Democratic Party. That's all ahead this morning on For the Record at 10:30.
The Mother's Day forecast, 80, right?
80. How about that? You'd think, oh, it's June or July-like weather. No, this year we've got Mother's Day for high temperatures up near 80 degrees. Sunny skies, light winds. If you're going to be outdoors today, you're going to want to wear that hat or put that sunscreen on today. 82 in La Crosse, 77 in Madison. Let's plan our days here. Madison moms, temperatures up near 70 by noon, upper 70s by the evening. Heads up, if you're going to do any, hey, let's do some Mother's Day grilling out. Just be careful. It's a bit on the dry side developing out there again. And the National Weather Service community wants us to remind folks that we do have an elevated fire risk. And we also have an elevated chance for severe weather. You're going to want to stay tuned to the weather this week for the potential of severe thunderstorms Thursday afternoon and evening. Kyle.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you all for watching. Have a great Mother's Day, folks.